Are we live? We're live.
Hey,
we're live.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Nerd Herd Live. It has been a minute since we have done one of these. We got a little bit tied up in the kind of Barbie Oppenheimer slew of movies in July, which also happened right around the same time as the actor strike, which we're going to talk a little bit about tonight and how that's kind of impacting things, not only in terms of what to expect with the fall and television schedule and movie schedule, but also how it's impacting events, which is the main thing we're talking about tonight, DragonCon 2023, with our special guest, Dan Carroll, who is the Media Engagement Director for DragonCon. So, Dan, we're thrilled to have you with us tonight. And before I forget, because I forget every single time for all of us to introduce ourselves, and I'm not going to forget that tonight because
I think that only happened like once.
It's happened
Twice, 3 times.
Twice. I mean, you know.
But we'll kick things off. I'm Emma Loggins from Fanbolt. This is my nerdy husband, Doug Sprinkle. And Robert, take it away.
I'm Robert Prentice with 3F by Space. Matt?
I am Matt Rodriguez with Shakefire. And Jen.
And I am Jen. I am also with Fanbolt.
And of course, our guest of honor tonight, Dan Carroll. Thank you so much for joining us. I know your schedule's about to get crazy with everything coming up here in 2 weeks.
Well, it's a real Indian summer thing going on. My schedule gets really light for about a week, and then it explodes. But I'm always happy to be with you guys at Fanbolt. I've been a fan of Fanbolt since before Fanbolt was a Fanbolt thing.
I love it. Well, let's dive right into things and kind of talk a little bit about where we're at with the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, and the SAG strike. And Matt, you're the actor of us, and so you can probably speak to everything in the current state of it better than the rest of us can.
Yes. I will do my best because, there is always a lot of moving parts going on constantly, and things are always changing. Stuff is always going on, so I will do my best to explain where things currently are right now. And both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA are still on strike as of now. WGA, their strike has been going on for 107 days, and SAG's, their strike is 33 days. So we're in the heart of the strikes. That means we're not going to see any of the actors or any members of either of the unions doing films, promoting films, or any of the studio stuff that they're doing with the studios. And so what's been in the news lately, the actors and the writers, they've all been on strike. I'm sure everybody's seen the picket lines and all that going on. The big news now that I feel is a lot of people are talking about are the interim agreements. And basically what that is that SAG and AFTRA, that what they're doing is they are, independent producers can submit their projects to the union and basically get an interim agreement saying, hey, we are going to agree to the rules, to what you're asking for in the contract agreements. We're going to agree to that on our own, outside of the studios. And, if you allow us this interim agreement, we can continue to work on our production. So there are some films that have been granted these interim agreements, and so they can continue to work. So there are some productions that are, even though the main union is on strike, they have granted these waivers essentially to studios to allow them to continue to work. And so, there's a lot of talk about is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What's going on there? There have been right now there are two productions, Ferrari and Dogman, that they finished filming and they've been given interim agreements for the Venice Film Festival, so the actors can go to the festival and promote the film. And so there's a lot of talk about, should they be doing that? What's going on there? And essentially what that means is that, when you go to these film festivals, especially like Venice and TIFF and Sundance, like you're going there to sell the film. And so what they
it's sell to a distributor, right? So they're trying to sell to a major studio that would be involved in the strike.
That would be involved with the strike. And with the interim agreement involved, any potential buyer would have to agree to those terms. So right now, Michael Mann's Ferrari already has a distributor with Neon. But if they were to get picked up by a streaming service like Netflix or Amazon, they would have to abide by the contract of the interim agreement. So they would have to account for those residuals and basically everything that SAG is asking for, but the studios are pushing back on. So that could affect potential buyers at these film festivals.
And right after Venice, it's important to note we also have TIFF coming up right after that. So it might be right before. I'm not sure the actual dates on it. But I think that might be, it'll be interesting to see how the strike plays through this and if it creates any more room for negotiations or any movement on studios.
Mm-hmm. And so and that's the thing too, where it's like the producers got to weigh like, okay, do we want to just go ahead and have where basically essentially only the directors, they already have a new contract. The directors they already have pretty much free reign. So the directors can promote anything. So do we want to go to these festivals and only have the directors and not have the stars of our film there to promote? Or do we want to try to apply for an interim agreement and get that and then potentially not have a buyer? Because are the studios going to want to buy films with these contracts when they're still in negotiations with the union? So it's a kind of, double-edged sword where it's like you just got to weigh the options and we'll see how it plays out. And we're already seeing Sony has already announced a big delay of their films for the later half of this year, delaying them into 2024. So Kraven the Hunter, the Ghostbusters sequel, a lot of these films are getting delayed, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bunch of other studios do the same. Not many have announced that yet, but as we get closer and closer to the fall and winter season, we may see a lot of these movies get delayed.
And I think the reality is too that the end of the third quarter is coming up, and as the companies go to have their shareholder meetings and they have to announce their forecast for Q4, that's when they'll start making their slate adjustments for when they're going to move the films. And they're waiting to the very last minute to do it because the amount of money that they know they're going to lose when they push it off, because they keep delaying coming to the table.
Yeah.
They can't go into another meeting with investors and claim that they were saving money.
Yeah.
They can't use those words, I think, again. So it'll be interesting to see how the next earnings call goes for all of these studios.
The easiest solution to this all is to just pay your actors and pay your writers.
No.
So we know that the strike has been affecting conventions coming up. Dan, tell us what Dragon Con is going to look like this year.
Well, first off, regardless of anything else going on in the world, Dragon Con is always going to be the most fun you can have.
This is true.
And that's what we got to focus on. But also Dragon Con is about family. Dragon Con, I consider you all family. We consider our guests to be family, who come year after year, and some of them come for the first time this year. Before we talk about the specifics, I do want to address the very serious nature of how we're supporting our Dragon Con guests who are family. We are understanding that they cannot promote either current or past properties right now. So we're removing that from our announcements. We're not talking about where Lee Majors and Lindsay Wagner work together in the 70s. And that's what we're saying. But we're really happy to have them coming to DragonCon this year. And the panels are going to be a little bit different. We're looking at a lot of different creative ways. Not everything has been defined yet, but what we're trying to do is use that DragonCon ingenuity and make sure that when one of our guests goes up to talk in front of a panel, she's not going to have to worry that anybody's going to be bringing up topics that she cannot talk about. Nothing's probably less fun than saying, I can't talk about that. No, I can't talk about that either. No, that is something I can't talk about right now. So we're going to find ways to make sure the conversation is lively and the fans are involved, but in a way that protects the artist. And the other thing is the actors are not going to be able to sign autographs that they bring of themselves in costume. So, but that doesn't preclude. I mean, one of my favorite autographs ever was Lou Ferrigno signed my King of Queens complete DVD set. So that's still on the board, folks. You can still bring your items. People have brought things to have guests sign and guests have refused to. So that may still happen, but they'll be, for the most part, signing anything you bring. And the other aspect is there will be, in some cases, not in all cases, but in some cases, there may be opportunity to purchase items that the guests can sign for you. Autographs are a big part of the genre acting community life, and we still want to promote that. We want to encourage everybody, come out and see your favorite folks, go out and get those autographs and go to those panels, and trust me, the panels are going to be fun, even if they may be a little atypical this year.
That's awesome. Is there going to be anything that people should be aware of in terms of photo ops? Can they still come in costume as, an actor that they're taking a photo with from one of their properties?
Well, what I understand, they're cosplaying for fans is not even an issue. If fans can cosplay whatever they want to cosplay, that's wide open. Photo ops will still be available. They're being structured. The final release, I think, is coming up within the next week on the schedule and signing up for those photos up. But the photo ops are happening. The only question is you would not get one of the actors to be able to dress in the photo as a character, right, because that is considered promotion, and that is right now not acceptable.
Right.
Gotcha.
Well, what are you most excited for this year? This is we've all done many of these. Like, what is like really exciting you this year as opposed to other years?
Well, I assume when I'm talking to the nerd herd that I'm talking to you and your audience who know what DragonCon is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say the same thing I'm really excited about every year, which is, apart from what I do on my job, I'm most excited about seeing you, seeing Jen, seeing Matt, seeing Robert again, seeing folks from around the country that I haven't seen for a year. And that chance to catch up with folks, that I haven't seen since last September, that is always the most fun. I mean, I talk about, even in when I'm talking to the general public, I talk about DragonCon being a family all the time. That's not just a thing I threw in about the actors. And I know I found my home my first day volunteering for DragonCon. It was something like I'd never encountered before. And we're just a large, ever-growing family. And that's what I'm most excited about. Also, I'm always excited to be on camera. That's something I enjoy. Because this is my cosplay. I 1 week a year I get to dress up. I compare it when I was talking to the co-chair of DragonCon. I compared it to people who pay thousands of dollars to do fantasy baseball, And they go to Arizona, Florida. They play fantasy baseball with former baseball players. And I've seen rock and roll fantasy camps, same thing. And in my view, I get to do cool stuff. And I get to do it at the coolest place in the world. And I have the easiest hobby in the world because I got to tell people how great Dragon Con is. So those are things I enjoy. But some of the things that I'm really excited to meet Adam Savage. I've seen him before at Dragon Con, and having the opportunity to do some cool stuff with him this year is really, really good. And the new announcement the other day was that Marty Croft, one of the creators of HR Puff and Stuff, and so many other properties, not just HR Puff and Stuff, but Sigmund and Sea Monsters. In a way, HR Puff Stuff came out when I was in like kindergarten or something. And by the time I hit high school and I was not watching kids shows anymore, he had a show, Captain Cool and the Kongs, on. So my entire childhood, he was there in the background, kind of like Scooby-Doo. And the fact that he's announced that he's going to be coming to Dragon Con, and that's really awesome to me.
That's awesome. Are there any cosplays this year that you're really looking forward to seeing that maybe you saw someone do last year, or maybe it's something that came out this year and you're really looking to see or excited to see how fans are interpreting it?
Well, I'm looking for the Barbie flood. I'm really anticipating a Barbie flood this year.
Same.
And I am really curious. Actually, it was really funny. A couple of weekends ago, got in a long conversation about this with my friends of how Barbie and Oppenheimer will be combined in costumes. And I'm really looking forward to a 50-50 split. Barbie on the left side, Oppenheimer on the right. I'm literally. I think I put down 3 in the pool on that. And I'll see 3 of them.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Dragon Con never disappoints with the creative mashups of any fandom every year, and this will be no exception.
Yeah.
No. What are you guys interested in? First off, what are you guys dressing as this year? Or are you just under wraps?
Well, I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah. We got a group costume.
We do have a group costume.
We do have a group costume. So we are we're doing What We Do in the Shadows, which we did last year, Doug, myself, and Robert, but now we're gonna expand it this year and do it even bigger and better. So
yes.
Hopefully.
And we'll be incorporating things from the latest season as well. So it will also be new in that we will have some new elements to it as well.
Yeah. Yep. Got to update our costumes. I've got to find my Najia doll because I put her up after last year's Dragon Con. I'm not entirely sure where she is, but I'll try. I got 2 weeks. I'll find her.
Yeah. I know that, and Jen might be as well, but I will also be doing a secondary costume that will be tied to the upcoming release of Ahsoka on Disney Plus, related to Star Wars Rebels. So that will be very fun to try out.
Personally, my secondary costume is coming from Bridgerton. So
okay, classy.
I'm excited to see that. You already told me about that.
Yeah, Penelope Featherington. I mean, the classic Lady Whistledown costume. I'm just saying.
I did Encanto, Bruno from Encanto last year, and so I'll be bringing that back in addition to Nandor.
Your Nandor, Matt. I gotta say,
I am Nandor.
Everybody's costume last year was on point, but Matt, you just sold it.
Yeah. I mean, I got the hair for it.
You got the hair.
He's got the hair for it.
So yeah, that's usually how I base my costumes on. It's like, okay, what character has the long black hair curls? How can I?
We're not going to go as far as asking you to cut your hair for a cosplay. Exactly. Not yet, Matt. We're not going to do that to you.
I mean,
acting role, yes, I will do that for an acting role.
Totally different. Yep.
I feel like when that day comes, it's just going to be so weird because, like, we all have known you with long hair for so long. It's going to be weird when you cut it one day.
I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm gonna shave the beard, and
Oh,
Not
So
gonna do
weird.
it anymore.
it's gonna be like, who is that?
you're
Be the
gonna
first
lose
time we see
15
your
years.
Even seeing pictures from like old Dragon Cons where you were Jess from Gilmore Girls,
Oh yeah,
it looks weird. It's
Yeah.
strange.
yeah,
That's fair.
it is.
That's
Wait, you were
fair.
Jess?
I was Jess. Yeah,
Can somebody please send me that picture?
we can.
I will track
Thank
it
you.
down. We had the entire cast of Gilmore Girls. Like we had everyone, and we had
Ming.
Mingson played Jen, what's her name?
What's her name?
The I knew it until you said it. The best friend.
The best
Suki.
friend. Lori's best friend. Lane.
Lane.
Yes.
Lane.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is I remembered Lane's mom's name. I didn't remember her name. I almost got
Lane's
shouted
mom was pretty
Mrs. Kim's
memorable.
daughter.
The actor's name was going through my head. I'm like, no, I need the character name. So
that was a great cosplay.
That was a fun.
it was. Carrie nailed it.
Yeah,
That
Mary was Suki, our friend.
Yeah.
Carrie
she was an
Byrne.
amazing Suki.
Oh my God. Yeah, please send me those pictures.
I will. I will.
Absolutely.
I think we only actually got one group shot of us that night, but it's and it worked. And our friend Mike,
good one.
who was playing the mayor, was not in the photo, and he is still to this day very upset about it.
he was at a panel.
He was on the panel, so he
I
missed
mean-
the photo.
Yeah.
But I
That's what I'm looking forward to most, like this year, is seeing because how creative this Dragon Con community is, and seeing them pivot with with the strike going on where they can't ask questions. I think that's gonna make this year so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, now we have to ask them stuff outside, like, okay, what's your favorite recipe, or just random things that, like, you never really have the opportunity because they're always just talking about their projects most of the time. And so now they have the opportunity here to talk about other things. And I think that's going to be really interesting. And I'm sure we're going to get a lot of strike cosplayers too. And that's going to be funny. And
I have
I
no
didn't
doubt.
know about that. That's a good point.
I mean,
Yes.
we had someone cosplaying as one of the burning speakers from that year that a speaker caught fire.
Oh yeah,
So-
I was there for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
The-
Dragon
the
Con, people
speaker
will
was
cosplay
over my
anything.
head.
yeah.
The not the cosplayer speaker, the physical speaker was over my head
Ooh,
when it caught fire.
Oh my God.
So
That's
it was funny.
terrifying.
Everybody started panicking, and I'm looking around, and I can't see it because it's up there. Yeah, no, that was a quick reaction on the cosplaying community on that one. Let's just
Yeah.
they were dressed up the next day.
yeah. No, I was also there when they showed up at the Ellie and AJ panel
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
as a speaker. So I also will be cosplaying. So I don't normally
okay.
do that, but I have gotten permission to wear John Hammond from Jurassic Park. So
Nice.
I went out and bought a whole bunch of really comfortable white cotton shirts and
There you go.
layers
There you go.
and
That should
white
look
cotton
awesome.
linen pants. So
You're probably
Very
going to be
cool.
much more comfortable than we will in our cosplay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I also do Obadiah Stane for 3 days before I get to put on the comfortable clothes. I'm wearing a suit and tie and this
Yep.
beard. So
Yeah.
that is fair, and it will not exactly be cool in Atlanta Labor Day weekend. It will probably be very warm.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
don't know, Robert. I'm gonna throw this out. The how hot it is at Dragon Con tends to correlate with the start date. The later
fair.
the start date, the cooler it is. And starting on the 31st is a lot better than starting on the 27th or 28th.
That is fair.
So
Yeah, fair.
I have my money down on a cool, comfortable, dry Dragon Con, but that's where I always put my money.
I will
Yeah.
I will back you on that one all day.
Yes.
I'm not planning on a dry Dragon Con, but me
especially
something totally different.
especially for everybody.
Right.
Especially for everybody that's going to be on the parade Saturday, which is always such a huge draw for Dragon Con, the parade every year.
Oh yeah.
You guys excited about? Is there any for the parade? Are there any new categories or sections coming into the parade this year, or is it going to be what we've seen previously?
Well, I think I can't imagine new segments coming in easily into the parade. I'm not saying it won't happen, but think about it. I almost wore my DragonCon 2013 T-shirt to celebrate that being 10 years ago. But when I started with DragonCon in 2006, people were signing up for the parade at 11 o'clock Friday night. Oof. Getting their armbands and signing up, and that doesn't happen anymore. No. Our registration completes in about 45 minutes. I want to say. I think I said 5 the other day, and that may be inaccurate, but it fills up very fast. That's 3,200 people filling out their applications, or at least their groups. If we've got enough interest, sure, we're gonna go ahead and make a new category. But the categories come from the people signing up, so there's a great deal of flexibility there, I guess. But the most important thing is that we're back with the parade. 2020, no parade. I actually drove down the parade route at 10 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday. It would have been in-person DragonCon because I lived in the neighborhood, first off. Secondly, I was sad because I missed in-person DragonCon. And then next year we had limited participation from the audience. You had to have a DragonCon pass even to come on to Peachtree Street. Last year we brought it back with full participation, and the crowds were great. Yeah. And we're expecting exactly the same thing this year. So for those of you who are listening, who are thinking about coming, who may not have DragonCon passes for one reason or another, they're still available online, dragoncon.org. But in the meantime, come on down, and we do recommend MARTA. You can take either Civic Station or even whatever the station is over on Ponce. That's a good station. The one right by, but also Peachtree Center. That's the heart and soul of DragonCon. So take MARTA, come enjoy the thing. Watch it on CW 69 here in Atlanta. It's rebroadcast, I assume, again this year. Or watch it on DC TV. There's plenty of opportunity to enjoy it lots of different ways.
Awesome.
So are you marching in the parade, Robert?
I am not. I did not. No. Doug is the one who has the history in the parade.
No, I did the parade, 10 years, I think. But I don't think I fit into my Box Hero suit anymore. But yeah, no, I think that I'm not even sure if Box Heroes are doing it this year. I haven't gotten the email from the group and everything. It kind of tapered off a little bit the past couple of years. But I will not be in a cardboard oven this year. I'm going to be comfortably at home watching it on DC TV.
He always made it sound so appealing when he was talking about roasting inside of a cardboard costume. I'm like, I'm just going to sit at home with my coffee and be comfortable and watch it on TV. And like,
I have to give a shout out to the Boy Scouts of America for having the water bottles beginning and end of the parade for the people that are in it, because that saved me a couple times when you start getting the black spots and some Boy Scouts like, you need to drink this.
Yeah,
that was A+. But yeah, I think the toughest year, I think this was 2018 or 2019. I lost 8 pounds from the start of the parade to the end of the parade.
Oof. Holy moly.
Yeah. That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah. Talk about a water cut.
Yeah, that's well, on that note, I am on the dehydration note. We are super excited for this year's convention. I do actually have a couple of leftover Oppenheimer shirts for anyone that wants to do a kind of casual cosplay Barbie mashup. Let me know. I can help out a little bit with that. But we'll all be at the convention wandering around. So if you see us, please stop us. Please say hello. One question I do have for Dan before we wrap up, is there anything that we need to be aware of in terms of like masking up this year? Are there any like rules and regulations that are going to have to be followed in terms of COVID or anything in that realm?
Before I answer that, I want to go back to Doug's statement about water. And regardless of what you're doing at DragonCon, if you're in the parade, not in the parade, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
100%.
People would ask me,
water.
what are the 3 things you
With
got to do
water.
at DragonCon?
Water.
And I always say, bring water, eat snacks, and then enjoy yourself. So, but let's go to COVID, and I do want to plug our amazing charity this year after we talked this COVID thing.
Yes,
So
Absolutely.
2020, no convention. 2021, we came back. We worked strictly with the CDC. We had 9 cases of COVID reported out of 45,000 people.
That is
Pretty
impressive.
good job, DragonCon community, on that one. Last year we had none. We had no serious infections. There were some lower level infections. Of course, the virus has changed. I'm not a scientist. I don't want people coming back at me because I got the science wrong. But the bottom line is, we made it through this year. We're following CDC guidelines, which has no masks required. Obviously, if you're coming to DragonCon and you do have immune deficiency issues to begin with, you make your decisions. We're not going to make fun of you for wearing a mask. A lot of people are wearing masks at DragonCon. It's cool to do.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing to remember. And then bring your hearts to DragonCon and bring some money to DragonCon to help with our charity this year. Last year, we gave over $200,000 away to our charity. And this year, we're looking with Cure for Childhood Cancer, also called just Cure. We're looking with Cure to go ahead and bump things up dramatically. We're increasing our matching fund this year to $150,000. So if we raise $150,000 at DragonCon, we're going to match it dollar for dollar up to $150,000. And what this charity does, and this is why I think it's cool and not just like, oh, we got charity. They raise money not just to do research on childhood cancer, and they do donate to research. It's very important to remember, but they also really invest a lot of money in the families, and they invest time, and they invest connections, and they build relationship with children who are with families, not just children, but families who are going through this most horrendous of all freaking believable things. And I just can't imagine, as somebody who's a father, I can't imagine going through that, even going through minor illnesses that I went through. Some of them were pretty severe, but nothing is the same as having to face that cancer from an emotional point of view, from a financial point of view. Folks going through that need all the help they can, and Cure Childhood Cancer are people who take care of that.
Awesome.
That's amazing. What's the best way to donate when you're at DragonCon?
Oh my gosh, there's so many different ways, but let me tell you the coolest one right off the bat. First off, every track is going to be raising money individually, and there's a charity booth and there's a charity auction. But the thing that really has just exploded the last 3 years is that DragonCon coloring book.
Oh yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
it's available at the charity booth, which is next to the Walk of Fame, downstairs in the Marriott, kind of in the corner. On one side, they got the Walk of Fame. Next to them, you look across. They have that place where I met you guys by Kinko's last year.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what everybody in the audience is going to know how to find it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, this is where Dan met Emma and the gang. No, is legitimately the DragonCon store. So Marriott, I never know the names of the levels, but downstairs by the Walk of Fame, and it's going to be cool. And plug out for people to take a look at the Dragon Awards. Go to DragonCon.com, pull up the DragonCon Awards. The ballot is out, so you can actually vote on your favorites. I voted for mine. I rushed out as soon as I got the ballot and made my voting. And I didn't know a lot of the people in the categories. And if you open it up and don't know the people, that's fine. Just vote for my favorites, which I can't play.
That's a great
That's
way
awesome.
to do it. And what I will say is that location that you mentioned with the charity booth is a well-known, I guess, a secret in our group. I guess not a secret if we're telling the world about it on the podcast. But if you get overheated at Dragon Con, that's actually a very comfortable level to go down to in terms of the temperature. Like, because it's like 10 degrees cooler on that level than it is on the main level.
Why we hang out there?
Why we hang out there.
You guys know where my office is and where our interview room is.
Mhm.
Both of those locations are also awesome for exactly that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Especially later in the day.
Yeah.
And while you're down there, that's a good time for you to just go ahead and donate some blood. I mean, the blood bank's right there.
that's
Yeah.
true.
This is also true.
And
But
this
this
year,
is
Dragon Con, I'm trying to do like the serious stuff about Dragon Con now, but that blood bank, I don't know how long you normally go, but I don't stop talking. The blood bank this year, the blood drive rather, we at Dragon Con are getting an award from the American Association of Blood Banks in honor of us continually over the past 15 years being the #1 convention of any type, not just fan convention, blood drive at any convention. And the award's going to Mr. Pat Henry, our president, and we could not be more proud of everything he's done to keep Dragon Con going and growing and healthy and surviving that pandemic year. So and he's done a lot of good with guiding those charities.
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Brilliant.
And just to be clear, there's no conflict of interest to have a bunch of vampires in line at the blood donation.
Just saying.
No, not at all.
Yes.
So funny side note, I was actually at one time in my life a member of the AABB, and their annual convention is on Halloween every year, and it is called, their big festival is the Vampire Ball. So they're all in, absolutely all in.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. It's good they embrace it.
Good times.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Dan, and thank you all for watching us as well. We're glad to be back after a little bit of a hiatus. We're still kind of figuring out what things are going to look like in terms of film promotions and what we're going to be able to do and what we can talk about and all of that good fun stuff. So stay tuned. Hopefully the strikes will not continue to last too long. Hopefully they'll resolve here in the near future. But yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm Emma Loggins with Fanbolts. This is Doug. Robert.
Hey guys, you can catch me online at 3F by Space on all your major social platforms, or you can follow me personally where I do a lot of geeky collecting stuff as well at Robert W. Prentice on the major social media networks as well. Matt?
I'm Matt Rodriguez on Twitter. I'm still going to call it Twitter because that's what it is. You can find me at Instagram at Matthew M. Rodriguez and at Shakefire on all major platforms. Jen?
And you can find me at Renlark, RENNLARK, on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Dan, where can we find you?
Dragon Con. www.dragoncon.org. I'm old, so I like the www. And at Dragon Con Media on X or Twitter and Facebook. And though I'll be honest, follow Dragon Con because my feed is mostly really administrative stuff for reporters. So, and
awesome.
As a human being, I'm not doing much social. So that's taking a vacation.
Well, you're
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And stay tuned. We'll be posting more information about our next stream soon. But we hope to see you at Dragon Con, and we'll be back to talk about our favorite cosplays and all of our favorite moments from the con. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. All right.
Woo.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Night, guys.
Bye, everybody.